Okay, I'll second.
O'clock. I'm going to call the order the Kent City Council committee meetings of September the 4th, 2024. Thank you for attending. We're going to start with the committee of the whole. First up is Kent Area Chamber of Commerce update. Dennis Campbell.
All right.
Super tall. So my name is Dennis Campbell, and I have the wonderful opportunity to serve as the Executive Director of the Kent Area Chamber of Commerce. I've been in this role for about 6 months, and chatting with Dave, I realized we need to do more in making sure we're keeping our constituents and folks in the community updated on what we're doing, and realized that we probably haven't done this since Dave's been at least city manager. So I wanted to make sure we did this, make sure we talk about what we're doing, kind of the state of the chamber, where it's going, and also what we've been doing for the last 6 months and what our plans are moving forward. But I think it's important to understand where we've been. So the chamber started in 1910. We work with businesses in the Kent area specifically, but that includes members from inside and outside of Portage County. So we have one member in Columbus, we have one member in Youngstown, we've got folks in Springfield, Lakemore area, Akron, but our majority of our members are here in Kent, and we support them through a variety of ways. We're a nonprofit-based, membership-based organization, so that means that we can't receive tax-deductible donations through that process. We're a little bit different than some other entities. We're a staff of 2. It's myself and Ann Moneypenny, who, if you don't know Ann, everyone knows Ann. So what am I even saying about that? Ann is the Queen of Kent. People know who she is. They know when they ask Ann, she has probably the answers from 1970 when she worked at Klein and Cavalli. So she has all the details and information. We have 12 board members. 2 of my board members are here, Mary Jo Klein, and then Dana Lallisandrick is behind me. We're active in the Northern Ohio Area Chambers of Commerce. So that's a really important piece we'll talk a little bit about some of the benefits that come from that programming in a bit. And then we are a business support organization, so we're not a traffic generator. So we focus on business development support, working one-on-one with businesses, helping them be successful, because we operate throughout a large area in town. So it's also important for us to talk about where our chamber challenges were heading into 2024. So we had a massive decrease of membership since 2019. So membership is usually driven based off of revenue. That's how we evaluate it. Revenue from membership investment was $116,000 in 2019. And in last year, it was $81,000. So that's a massive reduction over the past couple of years. But we also deficit spent about $40,000 over the past 2 years. We also saw a massive reduction of events and programming from pre-pandemic. And we were honestly projected to be over $30,000 short at the end of 2024. And then we also had a lack of volunteer and committee structure. That's something that we're working on. But this is important because this evaluated how we drive and how we've moved forward. So part of this process has really been looking at how we reestablish chamber priorities. We had to refocus over the last 6 months, and we really focused on 3 things: advocating for businesses, connecting businesses to resources and each other, and engaging them in meaningful programming. We'll break those down a little bit later. We also want to make sure we're doing real membership development, making sure we move the needle for our members and really work in that space. And then also making sure we improve fiscal management, and not just thinking about how we get through this time period, but how we plan for the future. How do we continue to move the chamber forward to make sure it is a relevant entity for our community? And so part of that is advocating for businesses. And so part of this is we work with businesses to navigate governmental processes, concerns, issues, discuss with local, state, and federal representatives, concerns community, chatting every once in a while with the senator's office, chatting with our local congressmen, spending time with our state representatives, engaging with regular dialogue with city staff and collaborate on solutions. So chatting about things and finding about things that are going on before it becomes a major issue. You know, really having those one-on-one times. I spent a lot of time chatting with Dom, and I spent a lot of time chatting with Eric Helmstetter. And those are 2 people that I really rely on so we can make solutions. Meeting with county leadership, and then engaging with local stakeholders to find solutions to challenges. That's another big piece for us, is actively meeting with folks so we can find challenges before they become a bigger issue, and we can help navigate them through those so that way they aren't major business stoppers for them to be successful. So part of the exit process is really connecting businesses to resources and each other. So when I started in this role, my goal was to do what I called 100 cups of coffee, which was 100 meetings with 100 business leaders and community leaders in 100 days. Well, that's continued since that point, and so I'm over with 200 individual meetings with business and community leaders. That's not committee meetings, that's not larger meetings, that's one-on-one conversations with businesses, members and non-members. So it's really important that I understand what they're doing, the work that they're doing, how they're doing it. I do a ton of how it's made tours, visiting our manufacturers. But also that way then I can make referrals to them. who can help them make solutions. Maybe they need an accountant. Maybe they need someone that can help analyze their HR paperwork. They can't afford a full HR team. So how do I connect them with an HR consultant that can navigate those processes for them and work with those things? But also finding information and grants, programming, funding programming, all those opportunities that help them. We also get a ton of calls to the office. I think since for 6 months ago, Ann is busy with taking lots of phone calls on a regular basis now because people are calling and asking and seeing the chamber as a resource. And they want to know whether it's members or community members about what they can do. Another big piece is thinking about how we do education, participate in local community opportunities, such as Business Networking International. If you're not familiar with Business Networking International, it's literally a business group that members pay so that they can learn to grow their business and support each other through referrals. I joined a local Kent chapter, not because it helps me grow business, but it allows me to support those businesses growing. So every week on Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m., I go to the American Legion and I sit through and meet with 30 business folks and learn from them, hear what their challenges are, where I can create programming and actually grassroots and find out what their challenges are and how they're trying to grow their business to the next level. Also work with the Portage Development Board, attending their programs, monthly meetings, engaging. I'm one of the few chamber directors that's in that space, really making sure we find out what our manufacturers need and how we can put information in front of them. And then we host opportunities to network. Women to Women with Stowe, Monroe's Falls Chamber of Commerce. We do a multi-chamber networking. We had one last Thursday. Multi-chamber networking with the 4 chambers that UH Portage is a member of and doing programming quarterly with them. So we're always trying to find ways to enhance and make sure our members have access to different programming and things that move the needle. Now that's where this piece comes in. Meaningful programming. This is not just events. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a goal. Everything helps businesses grow their expertise or save financially. It's about giving capacity back and helping them move the needle. What makes sense to them? Now, not all of our programming doesn't meet everyone's needs, but our programming will meet someone's needs. And part of that process is we're offering it multiple times of the day. Coffee hours and breakfast, luncheons, after hours, and they're not on the same days of the week because if you can't make a Thursday luncheon, you probably can't ever make a Thursday luncheon. So we move things around so that way there's different access points and people can learn there. And we've done luncheons at different places. We had a luncheon with the Kent schools and focusing on the state of the schools. Our schools really need supported in that process so that way they can tell their message, and so we gave that opportunity. Working with Kent State Rec Center and doing a luncheon there so that we could talk about wellness in the workplace and engage in that. After hours, talking about raising your brand. We're trying to change drastically the programming that we offer. And the programming is held by businesses or experts. Now, it's also important that our businesses allow them to educate their members and showcase their expertise, but they're not allowed to make it a sales pitch. It's the idea of helping each other, and then if you find a resource and you find someone useful that you'd like to contract with, you're going to do that naturally. But we don't allow people just to stand up there and talk for 30 minutes how great of a business person they are, because we really want to make sure they're engaging in that space properly, so everything gives that capacity back. And when we talk about membership development, this is really important, where all of our members are going to receive one-on-one meetings. We've got 320 now. It's a couple notes down, but I'm actively meeting with everyone and at least inviting them to meet with me. Some of them are like, no, we're good. That's fine. But I'm actively engaging, and I want to go see what they're doing and how I can help them. But in that time, we also talk about education about membership benefit program, which I gave a copy of the member benefits from NOAC to everyone. Those are programs that all of our chamber members immediately have access to. Some of them, it's cheaper for them to access health care. Sometimes it's thinking about the Energy Solutions program, and some of our manufacturers use the Energy Solutions, and that saves them right there. Maybe it's shipping. I had a law office that joined and was like, wow, I get access to shipping. This is going to save me just a loan for this year in some of their overnight packaging. So there's important processes and important resources that we're providing them, and a lot of our members don't know about these things. So we're putting in front of every single one of our members. Everyone gets this handout. When I follow up with them in an email, they also receive this digitally so they can always search it in case they lose it. But it's a really important piece because during those meetings, we're finding out what we can do to help them, where their gaps are, what are their concerns, connect them to each other so businesses are doing business with Kent, all right, within Kent. But also, I'm meeting with businesses regardless of their status of membership. If a business wants to meet with me when they get started or they haven't started, I'm going to chat with them. Someone asks me, hey, do you know where an office space is? Yeah, great. I'm going to give you that opportunity and share with that information because that is important. I want us to be a resource for the community. Now, part of that has helped generate a massive membership growth over the past 6 months. As of today, 72, Ann? 72 new members as of close of business today over the last 6 months, where our membership is over 320 members now.
Wow.
That's a massive increase, and we're just spending the time on our members the way we should. Spending one-on-one time learning about them, finding out what I can do to be a resource. All right. Our target next year is to end the year at 350 total members. Incremental growth because I want to scale it properly. I don't want to get overwhelmed. I want to make sure that the businesses that are members are getting those consistent resources and support process. Because at that point, then we'll evaluate. Maybe we look at adding additional staff member part-time, or where's that scope and that scalability that we can give. But to be honest with you, these are a couple of the things that we're doing very differently than other chambers in the area. A lot of chambers are just trying to drive on doing events and ways to make ends meet. We're trying to drive our membership up so that way our entire business operation is supported by membership, so we focus on the members. That is our purpose. That is why we exist. And so we want to make sure we're scaling up to that. The other piece that I skipped over, but I'll go back to, is our membership survey. It's supposed to go out today. Wonderful technology glitches, and it's not showing up on iPhones right now, so I held off on sending it out. But it's a membership survey asking members what they want. What are programming they would like to see, if they want to be involved, if they want to volunteer, where do they think the chamber is doing well, where do they think the chamber is having issues at. I want to know it all. It's all data points. It's all useful for us to be better. And so that will go out annually, and that's not been done before, but it's really important for us to drive the next years of programming. The other piece is fiscal management. One of the first things we did was implement a new CRM and website provider, which saved us about $8,000 a year. New credit card processing that directly integrates with the CRM, that then directly integrates to QuickBooks Online, so we're not individually categorizing every single payment that comes in. We switched to annual subscriptions instead of monthly. Saves us about $500, $600 a year. It's great. Elimination of software and services that we don't use on a regular basis and we can find other tools for. The membership increase, sponsorship numbers have increased. And that sponsorship is a big piece because I want to make sure that we have a sponsorship menu that we can work with entities, figuring out what makes sense for them. I'm not just going to cookie cutter anyone with hey, I would really like you to sponsor this at this price. No, does this make sense for you? Learning from them, that's part of that one-on-one process too. And then we are still projecting a small shortfall, but I'm confident that we're going to be able to close the gap. So I'm confident right now we're still projecting it, but as we added 6 new members last week, we continue to add those processes even towards the end of the year, and everyone re-ups in January, so we're giving people half memberships right now because we want them to engage in the space and feel supported in that space. Now, part of our future plans is we're returning with the expo. We're focusing on it's a health business and community expo, so we're really focusing on the health piece of things, making sure we'll have a bunch of health screenings that are there. The mammogram van will be there from UH. We're going to be giving free headshots to everyone that comes through. Tabling, we also lowered the price on that, so it's affordable for businesses to be in the space. It's not as much as what it used to be because it's a community event, and that's where it should be focused on. We're focusing on manufacturing development and support, really starting our quarterly manufacturing meetings. So the first one will happen October 1st. We're doing a breakfast just to bring them together for the first time and organization support. And then we'll go to quarterly meetings to do workforce development, resource development. Maybe it's thinking about that capacity piece of what they can't get out of. That was one of the things I heard from a lot of our manufacturers is they don't have the capacity or they don't get out of their shop. So what can I do to provide them that? New business support. So this will be a program that we're going to launch next year. It's for businesses that are starting. Or maybe you took over a business for the first time in the last 2 years. So we'll support them. We'll put resources in front of them to stop the churn. Stop the business churn. So how can we put resources, how can we bring other business leaders that have been successful, talk about where they made mistakes, where they had issues. You can only learn from imperfect people. And so putting that process in front of them so that way they can engage in that space and they can learn and ask questions in a safe place together. We'll continue community events, Heritage Fest, Festival of Lights, Tree City Dinner and Awards, Bowman Breakfast with Kent State, but then we'll continue fiscal responsibility. We're going to reduce our office space. We don't need 2 storefronts. We're going to scale it down. We're going to be sharing resources. We're going to be giving a storage unit space with Main Street Kent and the Kent JCs. We're going to share resources, share items, things that we buy. Why do they sit half the year not being used when our tables could be used every event that's possible? So that way it reduces everyone else's costs. And again, we're going to fund the office through membership and annual support, not event funding. All the event funding that we receive will allow us to give more, to do more for our businesses, to do marketing, to give out additional opportunities, to reinvest in them. So we don't need a golf outing to make ends meet. Our focus will be on our membership with that process, which again is very drastically different than a lot of our folks that we're working with regularly in the community. Our chamber's growing stronger. That's the simple way. Trust is returning. I joke that I had a business owner yell at me for 45 minutes, and at the end she joined the chamber. They want to be, our businesses deserve to be heard. They deserve to be helped. And so we're engaging in spaces that we haven't engaged in years. We'll continue to work with businesses, not just collect membership. I'm not asking for checks anymore. I'm trying to bring them in to be involved. Growth and sustainability is our focus. How do our businesses grow, and how are they sustained, and how do they contribute to our city? But also, above all, we'll listen and support businesses in the community. That is the most important thing that we can do, is that we listen and engage and make sure we're filling the needs of our members. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have a question.
Heidi?
Yeah. I'm not sure if we still have a liaison, if council still has a liaison to the chamber.
Eric Helmstetter sits on our board.
Okay, so that's a staff.
As Economic Development Director.
That's a staff person.
Yep.
Council used to, because I know I used to be that person for a couple of years when I first started. But I guess I would just want to know, and maybe you don't have a ready answer for this, but what can council do to help grow businesses, to help you help our businesses?
Well, I greatly appreciate what council already does. The council supports a budget item that allows us some operating funding, which is really important for us to be successful. Also supports Heritage Fest with other programming, with fees, costs, all those things. It's really just continue that support. For me, it's our job as a staff is to do the work, to engage in those spaces, to do the things that we need to do, to make tough decisions, to make tough calls, to support our businesses. As long as the council continues to support us in that, that's all I could ever ask for, is that support and that continued to support.
Other questions? Robin?
Yeah. Aspect was very impressive to me because it was a big concern was the membership deficit that you dealt with and how you were able to begin addressing that. I mean, the number of businesses that you were able to bring into the fold over these past months, and especially after 2019. I don't necessarily know why things began to fall off there before 2020, when the COVID actually started to impact us. But what did you, I mean, I kind of get it's the outreach you've done in getting these businesses to become more engaged and supportive of the chamber. But wow, that was very impressive, because when I was listening to you, and you had talked about where you were beginning in 2019 and recently how you've been able to start moving, you know, the envelope on that is so commendable. I mean, that was really good. And I was very impressed with those numbers, because I was focused on that. We've got a real deficit there. That means you're not getting the support, but all of a sudden you came up and said, but here's what we did. We've addressed that. Now we've gotten the support of the business community. Excellent. That's what we need, and as Heidi said, when you come here before us, you really do need to have online, and this is what you guys can do, because that's why we're here. because business is the driving force of this community, whether they're small businesses, university, whatever. That's what we're about, and if we can facilitate that in any way, we're all in. So thank you for what you're doing, Dennis. That's impressive. Very good. We're supportive of you.
Any other questions? Dennis, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Nice job.
Very much.
Feel free to come back.
Nice job.
Second up, City Administration Building Update, Melanie Baker, Service Director.
It's hard to believe it's September, and we're heading into some cooler weather. Basically, if you've had an opportunity to look at the site, the fence is down. The site work has begun. It's really looking beautiful along the Haymaker Water Street side. We're getting ready to pour our sidewalk, so tomorrow we'll have a road closure again so that we can pour that and begin to come up South Water Street. On the inside, some people have been in there. They are painting, so they are completely underway doing that, as well as the tile work has been going up in the bathrooms and on the floors. They've begun the entryways. The hard ceilings are completely in. They're beginning to put in the grid for the ceilings. The council chambers is really almost completed except for the carpeting and stuff in that area. So we had to make a couple of last-minute punts and decisions. As par for the course, I shouldn't have been surprised. COVID hit again, and the carpet that we had originally picked out was no longer available. But they were able to provide us, same manufacturer, almost exactly the same pattern, but just a slightly different color. So I don't think you'll, or same color, slightly different pattern. So I don't think that you'll ever notice the change or the difference, and I'll challenge you to tell me which one it was when we move in. But with that said, as you see, we are backfilling. We are at rough grade right now, and we're getting really, really excited. Davey Tree's been meeting with us. That's actually who's going to install the landscaping plan, and Brad is extremely excited because we have some new varieties that are going to go up that are going to soften the front of that building. We're going to give them a try. They're not real salt tolerant, but we feel that they're far enough back that they should be able to survive that intersection. So with that said, I would like to make this my last report to you and say
Oh, wow.
that the next time that we meet or I bring a report to you will be the time when we have to decide when we're going to do that ribbon cutting. It won't be next month, so please don't think that's going to happen, but I'd like to just hold off and let everything else that continues in that building just go up as it is, enjoy the beauty as it's taking on, and again, you guys should be very proud for what you did design there. It is extremely beautiful. We are hearing a lot of great compliments from the community as well as our fellow employees. And so just kind of bask in the enjoyment of watching it finish out, and then I'll be back when we're ready to go ahead and dedicate that.
Okay. Any questions for Melanie? None? Thank you, Melanie.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Melanie.
Can't say it update. Dr.
When
Dana.
is this going to be?
Dr. Dana.
Last time I asked her, I got my
I love that.
I do too. Dr. Dana.
Hi.
Must be
It's
an
always
old guy
great to
thing.
be in front of you. Lovely to see you all, and lovely to follow that. Hopefully the next time I do an update, it will be in the new building, which
Oh,
will be
yeah.
pretty awesome.
Well, hopefully.
Hey. Well, here we are, walking in with, Councilperson Sidoti. We were talking about where did summer go. It really did just fly, and here our students are back, which in a lot of ways we welcome for our businesses, for the vibrancy it brings. Maybe not so much the traffic, but that being said, we are back, and back in big ways. So let me go ahead and give you some university updates. Our 15th day is our kind of golden day for enrollment. It's when we can officially say, here's where our numbers came in for fall 2024, and that was yesterday. So fresh off the presses for you, this hasn't even been published yet. So our overall enrollment at the Kent campus is over 25,000 students. 25,530 is our estimate right now. And of that, full-time enrollment is around 22,500. So very strong, big campus right in your backyard. Almost doubling the population. Is that correct?
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So
Pretty close, yeah.
we are welcoming one of our largest first-year classes since 2019. which is very exciting given just a ton of different headwinds that you hear about higher education in general, enrollment in general, and that's a little over 4,200 new students joining the community. The majority of those have been in residential facilities on campus, though we also know those numbers have been strong with our, although a little bit later this year, but with our apartments as well, filling up over summer too. We have an estimated 2,000, maybe a little over that, international students, so that number continues to rebound as well. We were near 3,000 at one point, you may recall, dipped due to a variety of factors, and that number has grown as well. And again, that presents opportunities and challenges. You know, the way we negotiate, you know, making sure that there's signs and languages and accessibility to the different needs, but it's all part of this awesome fabric of having a university in your backyard. Our regional enrollment's doing well too. That sits around 8,400. And overall, we welcomed over 9,000 new degree-seeking students this fall. So we're happy, especially, like I said, given a lot of what you see in the headlines. Challenges we are still preparing for, and I'll speak to that in just a moment, but overall, we know the health of the university and the city are tied intricately, and so our health is strong, and enrollment is a big sign of that. Just a couple updates of some great partnership events. Some of you, Mayor was out there. Several behind me was our Flashes First Thursday event, which has taken on different forms over the years, but really our way of saying, hey, the City of Kent is your home and we want to welcome you. And we did it a little differently this year. We really wanted to make it something that got students into downtown, and we activated Erie Street, the Chamber, Dom's role, Main Street Kent, athletics. I mean, there was a large group of us planning this event. And so I wanted to share some numbers with you. We handed out over 650 of what we call these passports bags. And then out of that, 500 turned in these bingo cards where they had to go to all the businesses and get it stamped, or tables, and turn those in for a t-shirt. And I just think that's a nice number because it was very spread out, because I think folks were expecting like this big critical mass of like, you know, here, thousands of students showing up, and it wasn't that. It was a steady stream for about 2.5 hours or so. We have survey out to hear back from businesses, but we do know some of the newer businesses like Ally Mac had a line, Better Alleys had a line. So we know that there was business, students were spending, and that's especially, you know, as we lose some businesses recently, we're very much trying to work collaboratively to support the lifeblood of our downtown businesses and local businesses too. So I wanted to share that with you. We're going to continue to build on the event and improve it and welcome any feedback from all of you as well. Some constructions update, pretty obvious, Crawford Hall. Bright and shiny, just like you'll have a bright and shiny new building in a minute. It's pretty exciting. I'm going to send an email with dates to Amy, and these are also I share out on our Town and Gown listserv. But we do have a grand opening scheduled at the end of the month. That's aligned to the Friday before homecoming, and you are all invited to that. And it will be a beautiful day where you can tour the building, get goodies, just enjoy the day. We can also set something up just for council too, if that's preferable. It's alive and well, and students are in there and taking classes. Now you will continue to see construction out front because it will continue to be the East Main Street staging area. So that's not going to go away anytime soon and evolve into our next big project that is fully funded in a big, you know, partnership to hang our hat on. But the building itself is done, and we're very excited about that. The university continues and will throughout this year to explore just building usage in general. The state of Ohio is really wanting us to reduce footprint and just being thoughtful about what that looks like. I know we get a lot of questions about what about the old building and all these different things. All of that is just under assessment right now to see what our needs are. What does this look like now that the building's up and running? So if you should get questions or have questions, you can let us know that as well. We also want to share just a couple staff changes. Many of you know Dave Myers, who's been very active in the Rotary, worked at Davy Tree, I believe, is recently hired as our new Executive Director for Corporate Engagement. This is a new office. Yeah, so this just is very new. We recognize we've had different roles like this over the years. Like if businesses want to work, just kind of like how my role is to make life easy for all of you to interact with the Kent State University, how does a business who wants to work with us figure out where to go and direct that traffic and build meaningful relationships? And that's Dave's role. And you know, the competition, it was a good pull, and have someone local come in, and with Dave's background in manufacturing and the things he's done, it's a real win-win. So we're excited about that. He started, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago. And then many of you know Dr. Talia Drummer-Farrell, who was the Associate Vice President for Student Life and our Dean of Students, worked really closely with Chief here, had an opportunity to go to Penn State. So we're sad to lose her. Her role did a ton with just really student behavior, conduct, making sure our students' mental health as well. And a familiar face, Todd Kamenesh, is our interim right now. So just so you're aware of that. Those are probably the two that make the most sense right now to share. And then the last thing I want to share before some dates is just, you may hear a lot of chatter around what's going on, Kent State laying people off or what's happening. And we are going through what's called our Transformation 28, which is an opportunity for us as a university, and in particular in academic affairs, to make sure we're aligning our academic units to the needs of students tomorrow. There's some degree programs that may not make sense to continue because there's low enrollment or needs have shifted or demand has shifted. And in other areas, like for example, aerospace technology, everything in that engineering world is booming. And so there's no planned layoffs, there's nothing like that happening, and we would share that. And I also know when change happens, people are unsettled and you hear a lot of scuttle. And so I think it's important, especially in this climate, if you pay attention to headlines, even, with some institutions locally, you're seeing a lot out there. Kent State's in a strong position, and the president and provost and, the senior leadership team are working to make sure we continue to be a strong university in the future. So there are changes happening. Most of those are looking at how we are strategic and aligning for the future. So just wanted to, if you hear something, reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions, but just know communication. This has been a very transparent process. And because so many of our community members and staff members are in the community, I wanted to note that too. And so lastly, I'll share this with you. Lots coming up over the next month. This Saturday is a big day. It's our Aerospace and Engineering Expo out at the airport. That goes on from 8 to 4. You might have remembered this in the past. It was a pancake breakfast, and you got to see all the things. That's finally back because the airport went under reconstruction. It's also the first home football game. Towards the end of the month, the week of the 20th, and that weekend is Parent and Family Weekend. The following weekend is homecoming, and then we have Bowman Breakfast on October 9th, and the speaker has been decided to be President Deichen. He's not done a Bowman yet, and last year, we had David Dix, so we thought this was a good opportunity. So I will send this by way of Amy to make sure you have all these dates and what have you. So any questions?
Is there questions? Roger.
Well, first of all, thank you, Dina. Nice rundown. I'm curious about the footprint.
Yeah.
Shrinking the footprint. Went through a whole process about 5 years ago that actually was possibly expand the footprint a bit, including Front Street. Are those just being amended, or are we moving away from those at this point?
So you probably are recalling our Gateway Master Plan that included all sorts of things like parking, garages and what have you, and the combination of really COVID and then just a lot of different challenges, decreasing state support, student behavior shifting. We really retooled that and finished out those plans, to be quite honest. And I think this is where we are taking a step back to look at what are our needs now and where might they be in the future.
Good.
Yeah.
I think making adjustments is what we're all faced with as time goes on. Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
Okay, further questions? Seeing none. Dana, thank you.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, somebody have their hand up?
No, I'll talk to you privately.
All right.
okay.
All right,
Thank
Dana.
you. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks again.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Dean.
That's it for the committee of the whole. Moving into committee development, Ms. Rosenberg.
Yes, all right. First up, we've got Bridget's going to come up to discuss the rental licensing penalty amendment. Thanks, Bridget.
Yes, thank you. This really is a housekeeping issue, and it's actually fortuitous that we have Eric here because he is my partner on this. As you may remember, we had a court case with a landlord, and the magistrate did find the rental licensing program for the single-family dwelling units constitutional, but they did find that the certification of unpaid fines onto the tax duplicate for those few landlords that were not complying, and I will say again, it was just a few, as unconstitutional. We have always had the legal right and remedy to seek basically administrative warrants or do other means in the court, but Eric and I wanted to make sure that it was clearly delineated in the two sections of the code so that landlords were aware, and that also we can cite that then when we're sending out warning letters. The language is on the attached. If anyone has any specific questions, I can answer them, but it's really pretty straightforward. Eric, if you have anything you wanted to add, or?
Nope.
Like I said, it's a housekeeping issue. Sometimes it's better to have everything delineated in black and white. And I would request that these text amendments be approved with emergency.
All right, other questions from council?
I have a
Yes,
question.
Judy.
I have a question. I just want a clarification. So we still have the ability to use fines for civil offenses.
Correct.
Yes, but it's just how we get those who accumulate fines to pay them.
Excessive, correct.
Yeah, so we have to go to court for this.
Correct. So we actually still, council just last month certified costs onto the tax duplicate, and we actually had some property maintenance violations in there for mowing. Those tend to be de minimis. They typically are only a few $100s at the most, and those have not created any issues or concerns. But with some of our landlords, a very small number, they're the same landlords typically were continually, had multiple properties. So the fines were getting up into the thousands, some tens of thousands. And we were actually not even certifying over all of those accrued costs. So the magistrate felt that with such an excessive amount, and there was no actual dollar amount identified, but there were large amounts that that didn't offer a due process opportunity for the landlord to present against the fines. So in cases where we have a landlord now that will choose to do this, will seek injunctive relief and an administrative warrant versus doing it through financial means.
So a follow-up. Were these fines ever actually paid in some respect, or did we just have to let them go?
Some were, but some we actually had to return because of this court ruling. So we actually had to refund some that were landlords that were part of this suit.
Okay, but going forward, once we make these changes.
Right. Actually, since the court ruling last year, we have not certified fines for any violations of rental licensing. We issue the civil offense still, and we actually have a list that Eric and I had anticipated seeking injunctive and or administrative warrant. However, we had 3 new lawsuits filed, and so we are focusing on getting those resolved, and they actually involve some of those same landlords with whom we would have sought that injunctive relief. So once they have filed a court action, the focus for the city needs to be on resolving that. And, you know, for us to go, the magistrate, Eric can speak to this, but the court would not have probably let us move forward with seeking that type of relief. So depending on how these tort cases that we have, I think we have 5 now, that are in process, as those rulings come forward, we'll be able to solidify. We are hoping that, because these rulings will be the final on this, and then will allow us to seek those administrative warrants and injunctive relief to get those last few properties inspected as part of the rental licensing program.
Thank you.
But as it continues, courts go slowly, and with the Court of Appeals, it goes even slower, so we just have to wait, and when they're ready, they'll tell us. And until then, there's no point in nagging them.
Any other questions from council? Any questions from the audience? Okay, back to council.
I
Yes,
would like to move to approve these changes with the emergency clause.
Second.
All right. Discussion, or
I do have something to say. I want to say this is really one of our flagship programs. It protects people, number one, and number two, it protects our properties. We live in neighborhoods, and, you know, we really want to get to a place where you can't look at a place and say, that's a student rental, or that's a rental property versus a homeowner. And we're getting there. I really think that this program has been effective, and you know, the fact that we are able to do something about making sure that these properties are safe is really key, and that gives us peace of mind, because in the past it was very difficult to help people, especially young college students who really didn't know how to access the support they needed.
further discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Roger.
You know, I think that one of the things that you pointed out, Bridget, that's so important is that how high the compliance rate has been. I think sometimes people hear, especially, you know, in the media or when you see these court things come down, they think that, you know, we have massive rebellion, you know, and that's not the case. And I think that this is just holding those people accountable who are unwilling to be supportive. So I think it's a great thing that we're doing, and I think we need to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I want to say something to that.
Yes, Heidi.
Yeah, I just want to say that, you know, before we started this program, there were some of the landlords that really pushed for a program like this to level the playing field. And so this is not picking on people that own
Correct.
properties. It's acknowledging that it's a business that has particular safety, health and safety issues that, just like a restaurant or whatever, that needs to be monitored. And I think that on the whole, it's been really effective.
Any further discussion? Yes, Robin?
Yeah, I wanted to do a bit, but commend Bridget and these guys for maintaining our value system.
Mm-hmm.
The issue for some of these individuals was to create that kind of disconnect and create so things are not linear. They start jumping off, and we're losing our processes and thoughts and all these things because they throw up some barriers to see what sticks against the wall. But you know this, and you reacted, well, like you always do, appropriately in dealing with it. So it was a blip, and you said it all along. You know, we're going to maintain our value system and the way we deal with it, and we go through the court processes. It was a process thing. The courts pointed that out. We dealt with it. And our ability to continue to push people to do what we value, which is the health and safety and all those good things for our residents and students, is where we ought to be. So kudos on that.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you very much, Bridget.
Thank you.
Don't go
Oh, I'm
away.
staying.
Don't go away. All right, we've got some exterior facade alterations at 252 North Water Street to
Yes.
discuss.
Yes. So as you may remember, in December of 2023, we did make the design guidelines for the overlay district recommendations. However, there still is an inconsistency in our zoning code because we have not resolved the role and responsibility of the architectural review board. So at this point, any exterior facade changes in the overlay district are subject to a review. Our architectural review board only has one sitting member, so we obviously lack a quorum. So we are here before council to present facade improvements for 252 North Water Street. Again, these are recommendations, but it formally still requires an issuance of a certificate of appropriateness. I did delineate the improvements, and I'll just read them on the record, and there is one that I need to correct, that after talking to the owners, apparently the rendering looked like a panel to me, but it's actually a door, so we're going to ask for two different things on that. The first is the replacement of a window and altering the existing second window space to the north in order to create two new windows. These are obviously more clear if you look at the rendering for what will be done. One will be served as, used as a pickup window at the street level. So there's a total of 3 windows that will, once it's complete. They're doing transom windows along the entire front facade above the doorway and windows. They're replacing the door to the south, and I had put that they're removing and closing with the second door space with a panel, because in the picture that's what it looked like to me. But after speaking to Emily and Andrea, that is potentially going to be a door. I am going to ask, because I am not sure based on the configuration internally if that could actually be a door, ingress and egress, depending on how that first floor is configured. So I'm going to ask for it or clarify that it'll either be a door or panel that will be black in this state. It may or may not open. How's that? Depending on once the interior build out is complete. They're going to install a black awning along the entire front facade. The awning will display the name of the restaurant, and that is the only exterior sign that they're including. That proposed awning and sign comply with all zoning code requirements for signage and awnings. It's throughout the city. We're going to install a covered deck and fencing with ingress-egress gate to the street on the building east and north elevations, and restoration of the damaged brick and painting of the building in a gray hue, which actually, if you look at the building, if you look at the original picture of it, that's actually did have gray already on it, although it is quite peeled. I'm sure that many of you are curious about the restaurant and their activities, so I did have the owners here, and I believe Andrea Chisnell's going to speak. Emily never likes to speak with a microphone. So I'm going to have Andrea come up, and she can give you a little update.
I'm Andrea. So, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I live at 6872 State Route 43 in Kent. So, yeah, we're excited. 252. We've been staring at this building for a while now because we see the character and how much potential it really has. So this is an exciting endeavor for us, and getting to this part, super excited. So, if you have questions about what it is, what our plans are, the goal is to bring in a classic Italian restaurant, not talking fine dining, but a nicer dining experience, kind of give you guys a space to maybe not have as many Kent students around you. No offense. But I was also a college athlete, and I also know that it's nice to have a place that you can have your team have a dinner, you know, especially when you're visiting from out of town. But the theme, obviously, the whole theme of the restaurant, classic Italian on the main floor, but we want to keep it casual, grandma style. The menu is based on my partner, who's been a chef in the culinary industry for more than 23 years. Keeping the menu regionally based. I mean, we've got 20 regions in Italy. We can have a lot of fun with this. It's all based on seasonality of what we can get from local producers and then purveyors. So there will be a lot of changing of the menu and experimentation with the menu and challenging people in Kent to come and try something new. In addition to the entrees that are obviously based on Italian food, we're going to put in a wood-fired pizza oven so that we can have Neapolitan-style pizza. So that's on the main floor. We'll plan to have some seating down on the lower floors if at all possible. Obviously, we've talked about the deck, but then we've also acquired the lot that's next door. And so we plan to make that more of a casual, collaborative place for families to come. Things for kids to do while you guys are enjoying a great meal down there, and kids can run around and play. We can still have great drinks and great fun and great food and all that kind of fun stuff down there. Plus, we want to use that space. There's so many good things that the Chamber does and everybody else in downtown Kent throughout the summer with all of the festivals. Being collaborative with that and using that space and doing that. We've got a ton of ideas of how we can help keep and bring more people in to Kent to enjoy that, but also maybe come and hang out with us. So that's kind of the fun part of it. If anybody has any questions about what our plans are, what else is out there, give me a holler.
Are there any questions from council? Yes, Chris.
I worked at an Umbrian restaurant in graduate school. I have a great love and feeling affection for Italian food. I'm curious about, it's a softball question, I'm curious about the name.
All right.
And I'm curious about what's the,
I was going to say
what's
that.
the soul of the restaurant?
The soul of the restaurant, yeah, it's Madalena's,
Mhm.
and that's named after our other business partner. It's her grandmother's name, so that's where the grandma theme kind of comes into it.
Lovely.
So, yeah, that's and trust me, she and her husband are both Sicilian, so
Oh.
she has to get it right, not me. So.
A lot of pressure.
No. Any other questions?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I was just wondering, occupancy, how many tables are you gonna have in there? Do you think you can,
I think we've planned for the main floor, we can squeeze in 50. Seating capacity probably on the main floor with the bar and tables that, we'll put a bunch of 2-tops and 4-tops. I think we counted up to at least 50 mid-floor. Obviously.
this doesn't include the patio?
Correct. No, it doesn't include the patio. So, with the patio, the whole idea would right around 90.
90?
So,
I don't wanna brag, but I just came back from Bozeman, Montana, and it's very similar to what I saw out there.
oh, really? Okay.
So it's very appealing, very tasteful.
Okay, very cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Other questions from, yes, Heidi.
Are you still going to have a walk-up gelato window?
Yes, I left that out. Sorry. I did forget about that. I forget about the walk-up gelato window and possibly having a stand outside in the summertime too, so you can down in the play pit area is what I kind of call it. Yeah, we do plan on that too. Yes, we talk a lot about that.
Very good. Yes, Roger.
Well, just 2 comments. First of all, that you're gonna get a cart with the Italian sausage and all that out front someday. I mean, it's just
Roger, wow.
Down the road.
down the road, right?
You'll probably see me down
And the second comment, before I ask my question, the second comment is, you want any ideas about Sicilian food, let me know. I got to ask Bridget a technical question. Okay, you can stay. A technical question. And I think it's very appropriate that we ask this question. Our old plans, the old, I can't call them standards, they're basically guidelines, right? Versus our new standards, right? This basically fits, it doesn't matter which standards, correct?
It doesn't, and honestly, it would align with the standards,
Right.
the way it's laid out, correct?
Yeah, that's how I saw it. I was
Yeah.
just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm seeing it the same way everyone else is.
Correct.
So this
Correct.
is really, this is really exciting because it does fit with our character of what we're all about in Kent
Yeah.
and our guidelines, so, very good.
Mayor, to answer yours, basically on the site plan, the exterior seating is 30 and the interior first floor is 42.
They're still good size.
Yep.
Any other questions from council? Yes.
When's the opening date?
Yeah, that's what we,
That's probably more of a question for
can we make a reservation now, or?
Roger and I have a little
Yeah, we got
Let's just say we're still talking plans, so, these things can't be pinpointed, especially in an old building.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of surprises in old buildings, but while we're speaking old buildings, it's kind of off point, but 266 we actually will be taking down for anyone that was
Super, right.
curious about that, because that kind of has always been communicated along with 252 and 246, the vacant parcel, but that one will be re-raised, so.
You have a time?
Well, I just got the asbestos testing back, and I know it's a shock, but it has asbestos in it. So I'll be bidding out for that. We are seeking grant money for that through the land bank. I've asked for $100,000, but we're going to go ahead and take it down because I'm having some structural issues in the rear that are making me concerned. So I want it down before the end of the year. Hopefully the grant money will catch up to it, but if not, we can get it retroactively reimbursed.
Good.
Very good.
All right. Any further questions? Anyone from the audience have questions? Okay, back to council.
Move to authorize with, I'm sorry, just move to approve
With emergency.
with
With the
emergency.
emergency.
We had a second?
Second.
Okay. Very good discussion.
That's great.
Sounds good.
Any further discussion? All righty, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. We've got more business to discuss. Bridget's going to talk to us about a Trex agreement with Beware of the Leopard LLC.
Yes, thank you very much. So this Trex agreement is actually for 176 East Main Street, and I know that all of you know that I've been here for that before. Yes, this is our 4th time Trexing in. The agreement is similar, except for, of course, the permits have changed. It is a great space, but for whatever reason, it's just had a challenge maintaining operation. The last operation, actually, the standard actually never fully opened. There were some legal issues outside of the city, and that closure and basically the ability to not open was decided by liquor control. So it has been vacant since the standard left, and I was approached by Derek Salustro, who's also one of our Planning Commission members, by the way. And he is here before you, and he's going to give you a little brief explanation of their business, and quite honestly, hopefully that name.
Hey, Derek, and if you could just please say your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Derek Salustro, 133 North Pearl Street, Kent, Ohio. So this is my partner, Dave Weiss. So we had the opportunity to look at the place, the property. We've dealt with the property manager, Rick Nara, for Acorn Alley. Yes, we know that it has failed in the past, and what we've seen is that most other people have been trying to go fully high-end, and so we're trying to work kind of both sides of that, do high-end and low-end, where you should be able to get a nice cocktail if you'd like, but if your partner or your next one could be a high life, that's okay. We're trying to target the over college age crowd for the most part. We're not turning them away, but that's not our target. We both have worked in town for 20 plus years. We both went to Kent State University. I was the assistant GM at the Zephyr for many years. I was the GM at Northwater Brewing and the brewer for 4 years. Yeah, we just think this has an opportunity to, it's a part of downtown that hasn't been utilized in the proper way, and we're hoping that, looking at the other failures, that we can hopefully adapt and make it work in a positive way. And the whole thing is, like, we love this town, and so I think there is room for, yes, there are other buildings and stuff like that, but I think there's room for something that we're trying to do, which is a little more quirky and a little weirder than a normal place. So.
Sounds great. All right.
Oh, and Beware of the Leopard is it's from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's right.
So when he goes to City Hall looking for applications to fill out, they say, you have to go to the basement to the door that says Beware of the Leopard. And so we're both nerds, and so that's what we... Also, it sticks in your head. So that's what we're going for. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
42 is the answer.
42 is the answer.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Other questions from council? No? Okay. Anyone from the audience have questions? No. All right. Back to council.
Is there something we need to?
Yes.
Oh, the Trex.
Yeah. Yes, we
Yeah,
need
I would move to approve the Trex, the licensed Trex tin.
With emergency?
With emergency.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Second. Any discussion?
Yeah. Yay. It seems so sad that it's sat empty. We loved going there. It just always felt so cool to be down in the kind of that basement area. And if you saw it when it was the old hotel, you would see you would. I don't know if you did see it, but it was. Wow, it's such a difference, and I'm just really excited that 2 locals are coming in and saw the value of it. So.
We were also told that Joe Walsh might pop in.
Woo!
Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, guys.
And the sign will be changing.
The sign will be changed.
Oh, Finance Committee, Mr. De Leon.
Chief Shearer is going to enlighten us.
Oh, look who's here. Standing at the mic already.
I don't know about enlightening you, and
No.
I feel like I can not compete with those last 2 presentations, and now that we all have food and alcohol on our minds, I have to come up here and speak, and so.
Well, you could open a fitness place.
I don't know about that. I'm just really thinking about wood-fired pizza.
Yeah.
So I'm here tonight to request some approvals. So we have a wireless 911 fund that has essentially sat untouched since about 2018. Currently, there's a little over $231,000 in there, and that money is earmarked and can only be used to upgrade our 911 systems. So we've done some looking into things. We've worked with the IT department, the finance department, the law department, a lot of people involved to figure out A, how do we legally spend this money, and B, what would be good projects to spend it on. So we've settled on a few projects here. The total cost of these 3 projects is a little over $220,000. The first part of the project, I am requesting that the money be appropriated into a capital line of $184,333.84 to be used to upgrade our current recorder system. So currently our recording system for all of our phone lines and our radio lines is limited in what it can and can't record. And we've actually run into a circumstance where we went to pull a recording afterwards and found out because something wasn't selected appropriately, it wasn't recorded. So the upgrade to the recording system would essentially make it to where all of our radio channels and all of our phone lines are 100% recorded at all times. It takes the user error out of things. If we don't have the proper thing selected, it won't matter. It's going to record everything all the time. So that's the first part of the project. And that project, because it's an upgrade to our current system, we're requesting that we waive competitive bidding because it's a sole source provider. It's an upgrade to the current system we have. So we request that the competitive bidding is waived for the price of that project. The second part of the project is a $34,000 project through a company called APCO International. It's the Intellicom system. So currently, when someone calls 911 and has a medical emergency, our dispatchers are certified as emergency medical dispatchers and can give medical instructions over the phone. It's 2024, and they still literally have to pull out this paper card system that they flip through and try to find what it is they're looking for based on what that medical emergency is to provide the instructions.
Oh my God.
What this product would do is they enter a call type on their computer screen, and it instantly starts walking them through those medical instructions without having the need to flip through cards, find the right thing and stuff like that. So it will allow them to provide more prompt medical instructions to the people who are on the phone to get help to the people who need it quicker. And the third phase of this is a little simpler one. This actually would be appropriated to our operating and maintenance lines. It's not a capital project. It's just simply getting new microphones for our dispatch consoles. That's all that one is. And that one is $2,175.32. So I'm just asking that these projects be approved with the emergency clause.
Questions, council? Now, should we do these all separately, or can we do them all at once?
Separately.
Separately? The lawyer guy says separate.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to be difficult, but I think these are each of the separate actions, so.
I'd like to make a motion.
Any further questions? Anybody in the audience? Okay, now back to council.
I'd like to move the first, the upgrade of the current system.
Second. With the emergency.
With the emergency.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I move that the second budget appropriation or budget amendment be approved with emergency, which is, oh God, is it the Rolodex or is it?
Telecom, APCO International in telecom.
It's obviously the telecom.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff.
That's with the
Discussion?
emergency too.
With the emergency, she put that in there. Did you?
Yes,
No.
yes, of course, with emergency.
Okay, I thought I heard her. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
All right, I'll move the third part, the Motorola microphone
There you
upgrade
go.
with emergency.
Oh, good job.
Discussion?
Second, did we
Oh,
second?
yeah, you seconded it
Okay.
right there. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So you passed all this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. That took time. work that all out.
Uh-oh, tax lady.
Oh, no.
So, I'm here to request the council approve the amounts and rates for 2025. We have to certify these for property tax purposes to the county before October 1st.
Questions from council? Seeing none, anybody in the audience? Back to council.
Move to approve with emergency.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for Finance Committee. Health and Public Safety, Mr. Amrine.
Oh, this is...
Yes. The first, the only, is School Resource Officer Agreement Renewal.
Boy, he's on double time tonight.
We noticed.
This is an annual thing we do in partnership with the Kent City Schools to provide the school resource officer. Generally speaking, during the school year, the Kent City Schools pays the salary and benefits package of the school resource officer for the duration of that 9-month school period, school year. So we bring this to you once a year. The school year has already started. They were a little late getting the MOU back to us this year, some of the specifics in it. So we're here, and I'm here now just requesting that we approve the MOU with Kent City Schools and give Mr. Reller the authority to sign that document. For the school resource officer to be in the schools from August 19th of this year through June 2nd of next year. We do bill them quarterly for the officers' wages, benefits, and insurance, and that will be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $100,000 that the schools will pay the city this year.
Questions? Anybody from the audience? Back to council.
Move to, I was going to say, move to approve with emergency.
Second.
Okay. Any comments?
Yeah, I have just a quick comment. I saw a picture of, is it Mateus?
Mattis.
Mattis, sorry, I mispronounced it. Mattis up on the Kent Schools Facebook page. It looks like she's getting a lot of love over there, so
Yes.
I know that I know that there's a lot of good that gets done both with Officer Poe but really, it's really all about her.
Roger?
Yeah, I think, in light of what happened in Georgia today, I think anything we can do, anything that our city, our community, the people who live in our community, anyone, whatever we can do to help maintain safe and secure schools is critical. I struggled all day when that happened. I mean, how many times do we go through this? Thank God there were 2 officers in that building that may have saved many lives because they confronted the young man. So, yeah, I think that this is something that we do here in Kent, and I absolutely support it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you again.
Okay, Streets and Sidewalks and Utilities, Mr. Sidoti.
Oh, I'm up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have the Safe Routes to School, speaking of school and safety, and the school travel plan, and Mr. Bowling's going to update us on that, I'm sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So last year about this time, we had received the Safe Routes to School grant to create a school travel plan, and the Kent School District and ODOT's selected consultant worked together to create a school travel plan for Kent. Just a reminder, the reason why this is done is anything that's on the school travel plan recommendations is eligible for federal funding through the State Department of Transportation. Specifically about our plan, there was significant public involvement to create it. Between caregiver surveys, stakeholder meetings, we did walk audits, and after the recommendation put together, had a public open house at the high school. We received over 400 responses from the public that are all included in the plan to create those recommendations. So I included a sample of the recommendations in the memo, things like improving sidewalks on Hudson Road on the west side and crosswalks to help safely cross students. The intersection of State Route 43 and Riverbend to provide a good crosswalk at that location. Safety Town construction was an eligible item. plus there's non-infrastructure items, there's program items. One that was included in there is speed enforcement at school zones. So unfortunately, sidewalk shoveling of snow was not able to be added, as the DOT said that is not acceptable. So our next steps, I will say this, every 5 years we'll have to update, have to update the plan, so in 5 years we'll see what happens. So next steps are council and school board approval. School board will be voting on it here in September. After that approval is received, we'll submit it to ODOT for final approval, and then we'll be eligible to submit for funding applications that start March 1st. Requesting your approval for the school travel plan.
I hear any questions from council?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes. Who said yes? Oh, Robin?
Robert.
Okay. The reason for the rejection on snow removal, what was
It doesn't snow
what was
everywhere.
the state's position that
I think they were taken, but they hadn't heard that request before. So maybe if they hear that request more frequently from more other communities, they may consider it in the future.
that, come on. Students are pushed out into the street, and that's something that doesn't resonate with them until a kid gets hit out on the street because they can't transit the sidewalk, and they can't relate to that because it hasn't come up before.
I don't mean to, Jim probably give you a more defined answer, but what I would say is typically in our relations with the state, the expectation is generally that the local community is responsible for street maintenance, sidewalk maintenance, or the homeowner and the property owner by code, by law, is required to do sidewalk shoveling and so forth. So it's not a conventional role for the state to either do it themselves or pay for it in the community. So never hurts to ask. And like Jim said, if enough people ask, maybe it changes. But I'm not surprised, I guess, by that. And certainly anywhere I've worked, I suppose we've asked everywhere I've worked and we've never got a yes. But that's fairly normal. I mean, Jim, does that resonate with you?
Absolutely. Anytime we get federal money for things, we take on the responsibility of maintaining it. And that is typical.
Other questions?
I have one.
Yes, Heidi.
Yeah, so I know that that there has been some funding received already for some of these things, such as the Safety Town. What is currently unfunded on this list?
Just about everything.
Just about everything.
That's why it's in the list.
Okay.
Some things are partially funded, like the intersection of State Route 43 and Riverbend.
Yeah.
And this may help finish the funding.
Okay. And the Safety Town, too, is partially
Safety
funded.
Town, actually, we put it in as because we had heard that it was something that the community desired.
Yeah.
The time that we put it in, they didn't have funding. So, because we put this in the recommendations 6 months ago.
I see.
So,
I see.
So it was an opportunity. We don't have to submit anything that's in here.
Right, right.
It's just an opportunity.
Yeah, I know, I remember seeing the Safety Town on a list that received funding from the state, the one-time fund. Yeah. Yeah, well, just a comment, I really appreciate the Hudson Road improvements because I know that is a difficult area to traverse on foot.
Other questions?
I want to thank Jim. He tolerates, and I suppose all the staff does, they tolerate when I see articles from other cities, and I think it was Stowe, in Hudson maybe, one of them had come years ago, and I said, oh, safe routes to school, why aren't we doing that? Hey, Jim, why aren't we doing this? And he gave me that look right there. He kind of looks down, and then he's like, yeah, well, it's a lot of work to get that. You got to get the plan first, and then you get the plan. And the plan isn't just, oh, let's show up and design a plan. Like he said, many, many public meetings, it's a process. And although Jim happens to be really good at that process, he's still only one guy, with his staff too, obviously. But I appreciate the fact that he's got us this far. Now I can really have fun because I will have the plan in place, and I can keep sending him articles and say, go after money for this, go after money for that. So presuming you approve it, we're excited about kind of where this positions us to be able to be more aggressive, really, in some of our funding opportunities, particularly as it relates to school safety, which is a cause we all support. So thanks, Jim.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Back to anyone in the audience? No? Yes.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to approve with emergency.
Second.
Any other comments?
I do have a quick comment to make. I've got, plenty of kids that walk to school and now drive to school, and there was a tremendous amount of opportunity for parents to weigh in and become involved in this process, because I received plenty of notification as a parent, and I attended the one meeting. It was outstanding. Jim does an excellent job engaging. Parents can sometimes be, all people can sometimes be difficult in public discussion type settings. It was outstanding, and there was a lot of opportunity to participate, and a lot of feedback was collected because I saw it firsthand. So thank you very, very much.
Robin?
Yeah. Following up a bit on the original question that I broached to you, now that we as a community have identified the possibility of snow on the sidewalks being an issue that creates, in our view, a hazard, my question is, how are we dealing with that, and what should we be, because if this now bounces back, people can easily say, well, they had identified that as an issue when they approached the state about, is it an enforcement issue for us as a city to ensure that people, especially, and I don't know how you can.
Hey, Robin, I appreciate and I think that's a discussion for another time. That is.
Speak to motion now.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the motion, so. But I appreciate, maybe we'll bring that back around for a minute. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There we go. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Oh, you're back.
Yes. I'm sorry. So this next item is a water planning agreement with the Portage County Water Resources. A little history: in 2002, the city and the county entered into an agreement to establish who would serve water in specific areas around the community. The idea was to have logical development. Really simply put, you didn't want a water line for the city of Kent on one side of the road and the county on the other to serve either side. It'd be a waste of the public's resources. So this agreement here in 2024 that we're asking for approval is to basically do a more detailed investigation jointly with the county of a smaller area bounded by Mogador, 43, and Howe Avenue. And we're going to be looking into the how-to and who-to actually construct and build water lines in that area. And the purpose for this is to provide emergency connections to Portage County, potentially Kent to sell bulk water to Portage County in those areas. But we can't have those discussions unless we know what it would take to do that. And that's what this would find out and how much it would cost. So upon completion of the study, which determines the infrastructure, then discussions can be had and negotiations determine what who would be constructing it, if it's even possible to move forward. So the terms of the agreement are, in a broad sense, Portage County Water Resources will manage the project as they're the driving force of needing the water. Will be included in all aspects of the study, hiring the consultant who does it, reviewing it, meeting with them, and we'll split the costs with them 50/50 like we do in several other cases. So we're requesting council's approval to execute the agreement provided with Portage County Water Resources.
Great, thank you, Jim. Questions from council? Seeing none, anyone from the audience? Back to council.
Move to approve with emergency.
Second.
Any comment, Mike?
Yeah, I just want to remind Jim about 25, 30 years ago, all the no water signs up and down 43 and Mogador Road. But now since Portage County's got their hands in this, maybe it's being a little easier. Because remember all that? Yeah.
They have water really close.
Oh,
now.
yeah. Okay.
Really close.
That's all.
Okay.
See, I remember something.
Yeah. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Thank you, Jim, as usual. Eric. Or Bridget. Eric's not here. Okay.
Childcare.
Oh, yeah.
He's got little wee ones, so I only have a dog. My kids are gone. It's hard to, when he's talking about,
The dogs still own you.
Yeah, she got her walk-in.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so I am here for the Lions Club is doing a cruise-in, and they have requested for the closure of Franklin between Summit and the Haymaker overpass. That's basically to ensure safe crossing, but also because they're going to have vehicles and a raffle, so they're basically want the whole area closed off for safety reasons. Maybe the mayor knows more about it since he's a member of Lion Club, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So.
Okay, well, are there any questions for Bridget?
They did this before, but they had cars parked on Franklin Avenue, and the people walking back and forth. Basically, what they're trying to do is a safety issue for traffic to come up and down. It's pretty plain.
Mike?
Are they going to utilize the part where the
Underneath.
farmer's market is too?
Yeah, the cars are going to, I think, like the mayor said, this is how it was, when I talked to Eric about it, people cross to see the cars because it's a car show.
Okay.
So there'll be some there, I believe, as well as on Franklin. So the closure of Franklin is to ensure safe passage across both ways. So.
Don't they need a permit to use that property too?
To park there, no, because it's allowed for parking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was
Yeah.
curious.
Other questions? I don't think, oh, we do have an audience question. Yes, Don.
October 5th.
October 5th.
October 5th. Okay. Well, seeing no other questions,
Move to approve
very good.
with the emergency.
With the emergency. Got it.
Second.
We got a second from Jack. Any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, now Jim's back.
Oh, wait a minute, Jim's back. I forgot.
Wow.
Let's have to speak
And
with
there's more.
For this last item, there was a recent request to review parking issues on Pioneer. And in
that's right.
going through that request, we noticed that the language in the code was unclear. Specifically, it used the term dead end, and Pioneer doesn't technically dead end, because dead end means there's somewhere that has no
That's still
exit.
a term.
That actually tees into State Route 43. So we're
No
requesting to change the language in the code to reflect the situation that's on Pioneer, which is already signed, and remove the word dead end and replace that with appropriate language.
Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Is it, you said it's already signed, so it's not actually going to change anything for the people living on that street.
It just allows us to be able to enforce it.
Yeah, it just puts in the code what's already in the street. And we have these occasionally come up over, the coordination between changes made in street as we have things change. We don't always think to catch all the places in the code to update it. And just for your own knowledge too, this was an item that Melissa had brought to our attention. and we've had a bunch of meetings and conversations with her. She's really happy with this solution, so we ended up painting the curb. This was like a parking safety concern. And we ended up painting part of the curb and changing the sign a little bit, but now we have to also codify it, correct the actual code. So she can't be here tonight, but I did want to let you know she was happy with this solution.
Thanks.
Any other comments? No? Do I see a motion?
So moved. With emergency.
I'll second.
Second. No further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. There you go. You were last year.
That we're adjourned.
You were adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, not bad.
Dave, you were sweating this morning. You were sweating this morning.
Hey, Bridget.
I know.
Hey,
I was looking at it when we started.
hey, Bridge.